Daisy, Marc Jacobs.
Can I ask you to go back 20 years when you
Yes.
first enter this world
Yes.
and explain why it is you ended up at some of these so-called white parties?
Well, basically in 2005 is when I kind of got my contract as a model, and I was introduced into the New York scene from London. And yeah, it was an environment where you kind of had to find your way. I'm not lucky enough to have, a rock star dad and, know the photographers and the directors and casting people. I had to start from the ground up.
So it's about making contacts, getting
Yes.
alongside the people who are the real movers and shakers.
Yes.
And so you went to quite a few of these so-called industry parties. I'm tempted
Yes.
to ask which industry.
Well, the entertainment industry. So it would be music, it would be actors and actresses, it would be everyone that wants to obviously be in Hollywood. And you were exposed to these people very closely, intimately. And, if you are right place at the right time, you get invited to the next one. So
And P. Diddy at that time, absolutely the top of the top.
he was the kind of person you wanted to know because he could possibly open doors, and the people that wanted to go to his parties would be the people you want to meet because they can help you progress in your career. I mean, I got an MTV job out of hanging out at one of his parties, and I met some amazing people.
So it's quite competitive, though. Everybody's wandering around making the next move. Where's the next advance in their careers going to come
Yes.
from? And you're surrounded by sort of Mariah Carey, Justin Bieber, people like that.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, the early days, obviously, Justin Bieber wasn't around.
No.
He's very young. But you saw, the A-list everywhere, when you went to these white parties. And you were exposed to a lot very quickly. And you kind of had to find your feet and find where you were, where your place was. And I didn't make a name for myself till later on. So it was like trying to establish relationships, trying to get to know the right people. And obviously, the good and the bad comes with that.
Just walk us through going into the door to one of these white parties. You've got the gear on, you're white from
Right.
top to toe.
Yes.
You walk in the door. What do you see? What's it like?
It's kind of an amazement of something you would see in film and you don't think is real until actual reality hits you and you're like, wow, I'm actually here. And so is that on that sofa and this person's on that sofa. And you're just like, I can't believe I'm here. It is an amazement. You walk in and it's just champagne and women and, just an environment that you don't think is real.
And what were the women up to? What was going on? What were the men up to as well? Were you aware of what was going on when you first get in there?
I mean, obviously, I had experiences leading up to those big white parties. It wasn't something you had access to immediately. You kind of had to go through the smaller parties to get to that big one. And so, obviously, I had went through a horrific incident that actually occurred before me. Actually being able to
Tell us about that.
So I went to the vodka brand that he's was associated with at the time, had a launch party, and I was there. And I was in an environment with obviously him and his people that he's surrounding with. And there was an incident where I was drugged.
It was spiked.
I believe there was something that was put in my drink, and I don't have much recollection after what happened to me. And it still stays with me to this day. It's something that will never leave me. It has changed my life completely because I don't trust many people. And people say, why did you then, after that incident later on, go to a white party? I just felt like, I guess this is the environment that I'm in and I have to kind of keep going. And I found the courage to go.
You had one layer of protection, which is that you've never taken drugs.
I have never taken any form of drug other than drinking. So I know there was something in my drink. I mean, my entire face was paralyzed and I completely blacked out. So, I mean, there's obvious that there was something in my drink.
I read that you thought you'd had a stroke. As somebody who has had a stroke,
Yes.
you had a sort of facial
My face
paralysis.
completely, one side was completely dead, like it had gone. The security guard had tried to put some water in to try and sober me up and get me back to life, and it just wouldn't go in. It just
Must have been
fell
terrifying.
I was terrified. I had no family to call on. Everyone's in London. I was there alone. I was meeting new people. I was around all these new faces. I'm expecting somebody like them, higher in the entertainment industry to be more, I don't know, I didn't expect something like that to happen.
So Precious, you are in New York in this frankly very toxic environment, and there is nobody looking out for you?
Well, I have an agency and an agent and a booker who actually, kind of guide you through these kind of things. You go to castings and stuff like that, but it's not someone that's going to be holding your hand at every
They're not
event.
family.
No, they're not family. They're not someone you can call for support. When that incident did happen to me the next day, all I was told was to go to see a doctor to be checked out, to make sure I'm okay, and to not take it further and not report it.
Not to report it.
No.
So you're in the White Party later on after this.
Yes.
What is
Time had passed. I just want to make
Time had
that clear
passed, yeah.
by everyone. It's not like that happened and the next day I went to a White Party. Time had passed and I felt like, okay, I need to still obviously progress in my career. I don't have, the luxury of just like sitting back and hoping for the best. Like I have to be active. So I was, after that incident, obviously I must have passed. I didn't report it to the police. So obviously then, okay, she's a perfect person to be introduced to the White Party because what happens there will stay there.
So what did happen there?
A lot of things I saw, it was kind of like a place where adults were, it was, like a Candyland. It was where people had a great time and enjoyed themselves and women were there, obviously drugs was there and drinking and everyone's having a great time.
Sean has been done for prostitution trafficking, so presumably there was sex going on around the party as well. And it has been said that there were cameras everywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, I was aware that there was cameras in the premises because of the property value and the way that it is so luxurious. And obviously, things can go missing. So they had security cameras. I was told that there are cameras around, just so you know. But I mean, obviously, it's quite crazy because not everybody was allowed into the house. I was allowed to go inside to use the bathroom. That means that I was captured on camera or wherever the cameras may have been. But people there doing stuff probably were aware of those cameras.
Were there people there, do you think, who were being exploited, who've been brought in to be exploited?
I think that there is an imbalance of power. And when it comes to the imbalance of power, people take advantage of vulnerable people. And talent who are trying to progress in their career are going to try to progress. And, people take advantage of that situation.
And therefore, the suggestion that there are very, very famous people who are at these parties who might have been caught on camera doing things they would never want to be made public, and that might yet be made public, that's not a ridiculous suggestion.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's very apparent now, obviously him having a conviction, that there is a possibility of those types of videos existing. And I think, doing a documentary, I turned down 2 other documentaries to do the BBC documentary. And I'm really glad I did it because it shows that it wasn't just talent in the US. It has affected a lot of women around the world. Any talent that's gone to Hollywood, gone to New York, tried to progress in their career, tried to be successful, has had an impact. This isn't a story just of my own. This is a story of many, many, many models, actresses, actors, many people in the entertainment industry.
P. Diddy himself has called this documentary a shameful hit job.
I think,
what did you make of it?
I think the documentary is absolutely perfect. I think that it's captured every element of other documentaries, making sure they tell the correct story. And additional, as he has been convicted and now a convicted criminal, in prison, serving prison time, we're now seeing footage that probably wouldn't have been able to be added into the BBC documentary for legal reasons. So now we're seeing the side of him that people hadn't seen. All those little things that he says about the public, people that are championing him, like to get out of prison, not knowing that's the kind of person he really is behind the cameras. And he was so unaware of his whole, being exposed, because he was just saying how he is and so relaxed about it. Yeah. I think the documentary captures the whole element of what he is about. And he's done so much bad to so many people.
The arrogance and the power.
Arrogance and the karma is coming back. He has done so much to so many people.
Has he gone to prison for long enough?
I don't think so. The prison sentence for the things that he has done, and obviously watching the documentary on Netflix has shown that he has linked with so many other criminal activities. But I think the law is the law, and you have to abide by what was actually in the court at the moment of the prosecutors and all of that stuff. You have to follow those guidelines. You can't put him in prison for something else that you haven't actually brought to court and to obviously we're all aware of.
My last question, Precious. You walked into this world, relatively innocent 20 years ago.
Yes.
Now, presumably this kind of thing is going on in different circumstances even today. What would be your advice to a young woman from London going into this New York environment today?
My point I want to make, and I'm so glad I'm here to be able to make this with you, is that I don't want it to be the fact that I'm saying every single person in the entertainment industry, in hip hop specifically, is a bad person. I've had a personal, professional experience with 50 Cent. When I was younger, I was told to come to one of the offices that he has at 34th Street, Penn Station. 50 Cent and his team were actually doing an interview with young talent. Basically, they would put you on the website. They'll tell, describe all the things that you're doing in your career, give you a nice little write-up with some pictures and stuff like that. The first thing that I had was, when I went into his office, I met with his team. I never felt any sort of uncomfortable situation. I didn't feel like something was going to happen to me.
Good guy. guys and bad
and there are
guys in
good
this
guys and
world
bad guys.
as
And
in
I
every
want to
other
make,
world.
and I think that is the reason why 50 Cent has made this documentary, because he wants to make it clear that people should be speaking up, especially when they have a platform like his, that other people should be holding him accountable. And 50 Cent is doing that. And a lot of people in the entertainment industry are looking at him and saying that's wrong because they're willing to just let it go and not say anything. But at least he's doing something with his platform. And I've had a professional experience with him, and I can understand where he's coming from, that you can go to these offices and you can have castings and can have meetings and nothing happens to you and everything is okay. Not every single person in the industry is like this. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who are taking advantage of young talent, but it's not all, especially in the hip hop industry. I think they had a bad rap. And every time I've mentioned that I have had positive experiences, not a lot of people want to hear that. And I want to make that clear today because I feel like it is unfair saying a whole entire entertainment industry is corrupt. There are individuals like Diddy and there are 50 Cent and many others who want to put a stop to this behavior.